moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Boom FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
All right, as you know, as I said that the World Cup is on. This is the World Cup update on MSW, powered by Rexona. It won't let you down. And the good thing is having Michael here in studio. And trust me, I'm going to give him his proper welcome later on because he deserves it. But now that we're talking serious stuff about the World Cup, I'll just say the legendary Michael Owen, good to see you. Welcome back to this part of town.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Really pleased to be here. An honour to be on your show.
It's an honour for me to have you. I mean, I grew up supporting Liverpool, so I've always followed your career through thick and thin, through the highs and lows. As you know, as a professional footballer, you got to accept those things as part of your journey, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's no football career that doesn't have lows. You know, you look at some of the great players now, someone like Messi, Ronaldo, they hardly ever get injured. They've had pretty much plain sailing careers in many ways, but they still would have had lows. Maybe their lows if they don't score in one game, whereas most of us mere mortals, if we don't score in 3 or 4 games, it's a low. But no, everybody has to have a low in long careers, and I certainly had my share of ups and downs, but wouldn't change anything when I look back.
Yeah, because I mean, you've written quite a number of books just highlighting your life, but also just having to set the record straight and so on. We'll get to that later on, though, because that's the exciting part of the show that I'm looking forward to, digging a little bit deeper into your world, your life, you know, from a personal perspective, how people perceive you. And sometimes people say, you know, Michael Owen is so blunt, you know, so blunt that maybe sometimes the perception is so arrogant, and yet you are far from that. I mean, what really drives you now that you look back at your history and you look at what your interests are now? What shapes your personality?
I don't know, really. I mean, I think I'm a very active person. I like to wake up and have something to do that day in terms of I like getting out of bed. I feel very fortunate in my life that I was always wanting to be a professional footballer, and I lived out that dream. And then halfway through my football career, I thought, what do I want to do when I retire from football? And okay, you know, doing TV work and commercial bits and travelling around, and that's all very exciting, but what's going to get me out of bed? And that's my horses. And building Manor House stables over the last 23 years has been a source of great pride. And as I say, to have 2 sort of almost jobs in my life that I actually get excited about when I wake up in the morning is such a privilege. So now, of course, I enjoy my football work, the TV work, but I just love waking up and going to my stables. We've got 140 odd horses that we're training. We've got 50 members of staff that keep me on my toes. We've got a business that's growing. It's just so exciting. So yeah, two amazing things in my life.
I mean, Royal Ascot and everything else, guys. You know, I think I'm jumping ahead of my, you know, what I'm supposed to be talking about here today. Let's track back a little bit. What you did in your days playing for England, and a lot of your records are about the youngest to have done that, the first to have done that, and we'll go through all of that. And that's the exciting part of saying that you've left that legacy, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So when I saw Harry Kane do what he did just the other day against DR Congo, and I was like, my goodness, is that going to live in the minds of people just like it lives in us, what you did against Argentina, even now in 2026? What do you make of that performance, and does that propel now England into dreaming it up and saying, guys, we're tired of this 1966 thing?
Well, we hope so, but we've been here before. And it was a struggle. DR Congo played particularly well the other day, and it was a struggle for England. I mean, we threw everything at it. We didn't just throw what we had on the pitch. We brought substitutes on, lots of them. We then started changing positions of certain players. They had us on the back foot. We were starting to panic. Now, of course, goalkeeper was absolutely phenomenal for DR Congo in the first half. So, yeah, I mean, England, you would say, on balance, deserved to win the match, but it was a struggle, and it's going to get even harder. I mean, going to Mexico, playing at altitude, their record in the last few years is quite incredible at the Azteca. It's going to be hard, but listen, this is a World Cup. It's never going to be easy. Can we win it? Yes, we can. Do I think we will win it? No. I think when I watched France the other day, they're light years ahead of anything in the competition that I've seen. They were absolutely brilliant against Sweden. And if they play like they played against Sweden throughout the competition, then I can't see anybody touching them.
All right, so before people misquote you, you're saying that England will probably get past Mexico, but they won't win the World Cup.
They have certainly got the ability to win a World Cup.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the best team doesn't always win a World Cup. But, you know, and I'd say England are probably one of 6 teams that are capable, have got the ability to win it. But based on everything that we've seen and everything that we know, if you're asking me to say, will they win it? I would say no. I would say my heart says yes, but my head says no. And the best team I've seen so far is France by a million miles.
So where does that put Argentina? Because, again, and forgive me for being the skeptic that I'm going to probably sound like now, but we've seen, and the world has seen, almost like everything being handed over to Argentina on a silver platter. You know, if it's not, Messi, how come you didn't get the red card here? But, USA play and there's a red card for something pretty much similar. Is that outside of those notions that people talk about, on the field, is it the same Argentina, Michael, that can go all the way, compete, or even win and defend this World Cup?
They absolutely can. They absolutely can go and win the World Cup. They have been blessed with the draw. With all due respect, to teams on that side, Cape Verde and all the rest of it, they have been blessed with the draw. And I just think that, I think that they've got a very good team. The conditions will be perfect for them as well. And, of the teams outside of France, and they look like they're the most likely.
I mean, how do you separate in terms of greatness? And I'm glad some of the best in the world are out there showing their goal-scoring ability, whether it's Mbappe, Messi, Ronaldo obviously scored the other day, and it's his first one in a knockout stage of a World Cup. So every goal really means something. The current Ballon d'Or winner is also stepping it up. They had a great Champions League run, and they're having a great run at that level. So when you look at these superstars that we all want to see do well at a World Cup, for you, what tilts the scale, Michael? Because whether we like it or not, until they announce their retirement, there's always going to be a Messi and a Ronaldo conversation. How do we take the objective route, though, to say, guys, listen, respect these two players, this is what they can deliver, and this is who defines as the best?
Well, one thing we have seen in this competition is all the big names performing. Ronaldo again, Messi, as you say, Mbappe, Harry Kane, the list goes on. Haaland is doing great in his first World Cup. So the guys that we came into this competition excited to see have all produced. Now, Messi, Ronaldo, they're coming to the end of their careers. The baton's going to be handed, if it's not already been handed over. I mean, I personally think at this stage now, who's the most lethal, dangerous player in the world? I would have Mbappe in my team ahead of anybody else. So the baton in many ways has been passed, but these players can still have huge influences, and they will be different players. I mean, certainly in Ronaldo's case, he's in his 40s now, so you forgive him that. I was changing my game in my late 20s. He's in his 40s and having to do it. So he is an absolute phenomenon. Both the players that you mentioned, of course, are. But Ronaldo now becoming much more of a lethal goal scorer. He doesn't go wide and do the step overs and beat people for pace anymore like he used to, but he's a lethal finisher. And Messi is incredibly still doing the same things that he's always done. He's just got that natural ability, hasn't he? He's just almost been placed on this earth with a God-given touch. And it's just incredible to see them both performing at such a high level still.
We can't be in Africa and not talk about what's happened to the African countries. Like I said earlier, we were celebrating 9 out of 10. It's the first time. We've always had a limit of 5 nations going to a World Cup. Obviously, an expanded 48 team says now we can get 10. So out of that, we had 9 out of 10. And slowly but surely, every night, one African team disappears. Where do you think Africa, I know I shouldn't be asking that in that glib manner, but where's Africa getting it wrong? Because somewhere, somehow, there is something wrong something that the European teams have figured out, that they can get a win over African nations. What is it?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily be so harsh. I think African teams in this World Cup, I can't think of anybody that can't hold their head up high after this tournament. African nations have always produced phenomenal players. We've seen that in our Premier League. What they've added to the Premier League over decades has been absolutely incredible. And we love Africa for that because, you know, we want a league that touches all four corners of the world. And Africa, as I say, have played a huge role in the success of the Premier League for many, many years. In the tournament itself, you know, the likes of Morocco, Egypt, doing particularly well. Cape Verde being one of the success stories of the whole tournament, which is incredible. South Africa getting into the knockout stages. Nobody thought that would happen. You know, I think overall there's been a lot of positives to take out. Now, are any African team good enough to go all the way and win a World Cup? No, I don't think so at the moment. But saying that, you could say about other areas, like who in Asia is good enough to go all the way into, you know, there are certain football strongholds in the world, and obviously South America have always been one of those. You know, how they're brought up, what they do, their facilities, their coaches, whatever it might be, we can all have that debate. But I think that there's big steps being made from African football, and I think in this World Cup there have been visual steps made, and I also think that the experience of all these teams you mentioned, 9 teams going to the World Cup, that won't be lost on them. You know, that competition football, that taste of, let's say in South Africa's case, of playing 4 games at the highest level with intense pressure, those players will have gained so much experience from that, and I think that can hold you in a big, you know, in a good stead as well going forward.
But obviously tonight is a big one because, again, 3 African nations step forward. Australia play against Egypt. You got the Argentinian game you mentioned against Cape Verde. You also got Colombia playing against Ghana. Now, Colombia have shown that they run and never stop. I mean, if they could run, they would end up here at the Hollywood Beds at Durban, July, like all the horses that will be running on the weekend. It's exciting for them, but what do you think of Ghana? I mean, they've got an experienced, wily coach in Carlos Queiroz. I mean, somebody who's been at your 2 former teams, Real Madrid as well as Manchester United, working alongside Sir Alex Ferguson. Do you think they might have the edge, or is just Colombia a bit too much for them?
Well, I do like Ghana as a team, but the one team that I've been really impressed with, or the one team that's surprised me, I guess, in this tournament has been Colombia. I love watching them play. As you say, the energy in the team, it's incredible. And, of course, conditions are there to suit. They're playing pretty much in their, in their home continent anyway. So it will be a very difficult game for them. And yeah, I mean, if you're saying to me now dark horses in the competition, I'd probably say Colombia. I've been so impressed with them throughout this tournament. So it's going to be hard, but again, Ghana have always produced individual talented players, and let's see if they can produce a team-winning performance tonight.
All right, and good luck to all of those nations that are representing the African continent tonight. All right, we're going to head off to the break now. As I said, when we come back, we celebrate the life and the times of Michael Owen. We head back into his life, his journey. What's really propelled him to be the kind of superstar that he is today? What can he tell us about 2010? Because I don't remember seeing him play for England. Was that part of the books and the revelations of why he had to set the record straight on a couple of things, including the relationship with Fabio Capello and what he made of the England squad then versus what the England squad is like now under Thomas Tuchel. So that and a whole lot more coming up. So don't go anywhere. I see a lot of voice notes that have come through. Please send them through. This is your show, not mine, not Michael's show. It's your show. And we're here to celebrate, the world's greatest legend that is here in Durban with us. And if you haven't heard, though, Shield is now Rexona, a brand that you've trusted for years, is stepping forward with a bold new name. It is pronounced Rexona. It's simple, it's strong, and easy to remember. Now, this new name comes with a fresh new look and advanced body heat technology, so it gets to work every time you move, keeping you feeling very, very confident all day. A proud partner of Bafana Bafana, as well as Banyana Banyana, Rexona. It won't let you down. Now, that was the World Cup update on MSW, powered by Rexona. It won't let you down.
#MSW. Live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live. At the same time. #MSW.
And it certainly is about our beloved legends. I know I've spoken to him about the World Cup just now, but let's focus on the man himself. I mean, on Legends Night tonight, we celebrate the icons whose stories have inspired generations, whose brilliance lit up the world's biggest stages, and whose legacies continue to shape the beautiful game. And that's why our guest tonight, football's teenage phenomenon, as a player that took the world by storm with one unforgettable burst that you heard in that clip. 1998 FIFA World Cup at just the age of 18. Yeah, 18 years old. Where were you when you were 18? Were you at the World Cup, were you? I mean, he became England's golden boy, a global superstar, and later the winner of football's most prestigious individual honor, the Ballon d'Or. I mean, he thrilled the fans, the lethal finishing, electrifying speed, remarkable instinct in front of goal, dazzling, for Liverpool. Before representing giants such as Real Madrid, went on to Newcastle, Man United, Stoke City. But the most important thing, especially because it's World Cup, that England jersey, scoring in four consecutive major international tournaments. An extraordinary achievement, though, that kind of still stands alone up until now. But hey, life after football has been just fascinating. And I think Michael gave us an overview just now about, his post-football investment that he put out there, becoming, the most respected television analyst, building a successful horse breeding operation, owning champion racehorses, and even riding competitively at Ascot. Imagine that. Brings fond memories, I'm sure, doesn't it, to Michael? And he's here. I mean, he's transitioned into something really great, and we are so proud to have him here. He is a Hollywood Bets ambassador, enjoying life in South Africa. He's been shooting, promos and all sorts of ads there for Hollywood Bets. You're at home now. This is your second home, Michael. Hey?
It is. It's my third visit in a year, and I'm loving it. That's one of the good things about retiring. It's never nice to have done something all your life and retire, but you do get to come out and to see different places that you'd never see before. I mean, we do jet around all over the place when you're a professional footballer, but you see airports, you see stadiums and hotel rooms. You never get to see anywhere else. Exactly, in the past. And now I can come out to places like here and have a look round, meet the people, and reminisce a little bit, because obviously a lot of people want to talk about what they used to watch and how I made them feel, etc. So it's just lovely to be able to do it.
Yeah, but what's the one thing that really is like a recurring theme when you meet people? What is that one moment that they keep over and over again? I mean, obviously they don't know that they're asking a question for the 120th gazillion time, but you got to make it sound like it's the first time you hear of it.
Absolutely. A lot of it, of course, is England, Argentina, depending on the age, really, of the person. But then a lot of it is club football as well. There's such a passion, especially over here, passion for the Premier League, or a passion for other huge teams, obviously representing Real Madrid as well. So I think, if you're a Manchester United fan, you come up to me and say, thank you for that goal that you scored in Fergie time. Of course, Liverpool fans will have other memories, etc. So yeah, but I would say 60-70% of it is the Argentina goal.
Right, so obviously you get call-ups to come and represent England, and then you got a call-up to become the Hollywood Bets ambassador. So tell me about that call and what you made of it, and what were they saying you needed to do, because now all of a sudden, there you are, based in the UK. Here's this South African company that sponsors, Brentford on their jersey, and now they're saying, come and be a Hollywood Bets ambassador. Give me a sight of that conversation. How did that go?
Well, I think that's part of, my life throughout my footballing career, and certainly now as well. Having associations with different brands is a great thing to do. As you say, gets you travelling all over the place. I feel as if being a Hollywood Bets ambassador is very natural for me, because I love sport, of course. Horse racing and football are my two, they're my life. So I feel as if I can talk on the subject with a little bit of insight, let's say, and experience. So it just feels a very, very natural fit. I've had, somebody like Mike de Kock, who's one of the leading horse trainers out here. I've known him for quite some time and met him during last year's Durban July. And And we just got talking. He said, I put in a word at Hollywood Bets, and that was sort of the link to start with. And then I got to meet Owen and the guys, and it's just spiraled from there, really, and we just hit it off. And yeah, it's been nearly a year since we've been together, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And of course, getting invited to come out to events like this is just brilliant.
And how do you put your outfit together?
Oh, don't ask me that. I just thought I'm coming out for a race day, so I'll just pack a suit or a pair of trousers and a jacket, and that's what I did. And then as soon as I touched down, I heard about the different style and the theme this year, and I thought, oh no, I'm just here in a suit, so I might have to just put a cowboy hat on or something like that.
Country allure, hey?
Exactly. I don't know what to do as I'm heading to the track, but no, I'm just dressed quite normally, so I'll leave the fashion stakes. Fashion has never been my game, so I don't think you're expecting much from me anyway.
Come on, Michael, we've seen you at Royal Ascot. We've seen you dress in those low-hanging jackets, so... you have a reputation to uphold as far as the style is concerned.
Oh, I don't know about that. As I say, I don't think style is something that I'm remembered for. But I'll give it a go. I'll try to look my best. But I'm sure there'll be lots of other people that are far more stylistic than me.
But were there elements, during the shoots for the ads and everything else that maybe caught you by surprise? Sometimes the things that are said about South Africa that you're like, what are these guys talking about? I'm having a great time. This is a different life and, different people, very warm. It's the same thing I felt when I was in Mexico when Bafana played a couple of weeks ago. I was like, wow, the Mexicans are probably one of the most kindest of people, nice people, warm people, genuine people. What did you make of South Africa, let's say, just in the past year, as you say?
Well, I have been many times before. I mean, during the World Cup in Qatar 4 years ago, I actually came to South Africa for about a month and covered on SuperSport in Johannesburg there. So I spent a month down here and obviously got to know South Africa a lot more, meet the people. The food is amazing. Of course, the weather is just a little bit better than in the UK.
So I've been yesterday, hey?
Well, I know, yeah. But I've been here many times, so it's not a surprise now when I come and I'm, impressed by everything that you've just said, really. The people are warm. The people are so passionate for football. It's great that I feel as if I live in their living rooms because I'm on the television a lot out here, of course, with you guys taking the Premier League. So there's always something to speak to everybody about, and that's a nice thing. So yeah, the people down here are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. That's the thing about having limited time with somebody. So I'm going to bounce all over the place. And you talk about being in people's living rooms. And I know your take about VAR, for example, and you've explained it. You've tried to make people understand what's the logic behind, the skeptics that don't look at VAR favorably. So VAR has become another center of attention at this World Cup. What do you make of VAR now versus the VAR that came in and intervened when it first came out?
Well, it's tenfold better now than it was, but that's not to say that everything's perfect. Of course, it does interfere with the game. It does mean you score a goal and you celebrate, and there's always a little bit in the back of your mind saying, shall we celebrate it? It has taken a little bit away from the game, no question about it. So I'm not one that just is blind to thinking it's perfect. And they'll still make mistakes because it's manned by people, and people will always make mistakes. My problem is not that. My problem is trying to make others, and especially when I'm in my work mode on the television, you've got to give people the insight of what it's there for, what it's there to do, because it can be complicated. Some people don't, they're casual football watchers, so they don't necessarily know every single detail of the rules. So, it's here to stay. We've just got to make it better, and obviously the people manning it have got to make it better. It still makes me pull my hair out at some stage, but if you go into that VAR booth, if you experience it, if you see what they do and how many decisions they get right, etc., then it has vastly improved the game from one side, from one element. But I totally hear people's argument that say don't like it because of all the reasons I mentioned before. So I'm very open-minded. Of course, I present a show with Howard Webb talking about, the big decisions of that month, let's say, and I find it fascinating and really enjoy doing that. But it is the biggest change in football over the last decade or so, and some people like it and some people hate it, and I totally respect that.
Yeah, Howard Webb, I mean, he was a no-nonsense former cop, and he's somebody that handled South Africa's game in Bloemfontein when South Africa played in 2010 against France, and it was a France team that really was in shambles and so on. So I've always respected Howard. I respect the show that you do, because for me, insightful shows that go just beyond the game at that level, they help the public to understand the bigger picture. And I think the bigger picture has been the World Cup, how it has come through and intervened, how it hasn't come through and intervened. But what do you think, the end game is? Because football is an emotional game. So if a goal goes in, we just used to celebrating and, let's go on, kick off again, halfway line. But now, like you say, the emotions, ding, ding, 1 minute, ding, ding, 2 minutes, and it keeps going on. You've seen 5-6 minutes of just lingering. You don't know. Then they call it off. So that high and emotion and high fives and skidding on the grass is now lost. Where do you think the end game is, though, for VAR?
I don't think we're going to change that, sadly. When a goal goes in, they have to check, was it offside? Was it a fair goal? And those checks take 30 seconds, a minute. And if there's something contentious, they've got to look into it. And it is difficult. I mean, towards the end of the season in the Premier League, we had West Ham and Arsenal, and there was a disallowed goal there that was so important at both ends of the table, and it took 5.5 minutes or something. Now, when we look back on that and we analysed it, VAR were absolutely spot on. It was incredible. The decision was the right decision. The processes, there was about 5 different things going on at once. How they deciphered and went through it piece by piece by piece. It was the best usage of VAR that we've ever seen. Yet, at the end of the game, all the criticism, all the noise was about VAR, how long it took, what it did, and people criticise. I mean, even when it does something right at the sharpest, that was possibly the biggest VAR decision ever, certainly in the Premier League. And it worked, and they got to the right decision, and they did it perfectly, and they should have been getting a pat on the back, but because people just don't like it, they got criticism for that as well. So we've come to expect, and I think Howard Webb in particular has come to accept, that his position, his role is simply going to be criticised no matter what. Even when they get a decision right, it will still be criticised, and that's just because certain people do not like it and prefer the old way. The only thing I would say is, if you can somehow just take yourself to the old way and see if you would accept some of the awful decisions that we used to see, whether it's goals, whether it's, disallow, whether it's foul, whatever it might be, VAR clears it up so much nowadays, and you take for granted, you watch the television, you just accept, oh yeah, that was outside the box, or yeah, that was a goal, it was over the line. Now we've had VAR, you can't go back. You simply, our brains would explode. You just wouldn't be able to take 10 bad decisions. Exactly. You simply wouldn't. It's so unjust, certain situations, that we couldn't accept it, and we would just vote for it to come back in immediately, in my opinion. So it's there. It's affected the game. I don't know the answer in terms of, is it going to make any better? No, it's going to keep us all pulling our hair out and keep us all waiting when there's a goal gone in, and that emotion has been sucked out slightly. However, okay, we might be hurt a little bit from that emotion, but on the flip side, we're gaining an awful lot of fairness and consistency.
All right. At some point at the age of 17, I don't know if you remember these words from Roy Evans, who famously said that if you're good enough, you're old enough. I mean, did you then truly believe that you were ready for first team football? Or did everything just happen so quickly? That and so much more coming up after the break. Michael Owen is my guest right here on #MSW.
#MSW. Live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live. At the same time. #MSW.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the legend, Michael Owen, one of the greatest to have ever emerged from England. But I just want to ask Michael Owen, with you being iconic as a striker, what is your view around the role of strikers in modern football, where clubs are no longer even buying strikers, but much of the game models are built around wingers or fullbacks? And do you think the role of a striker is at the risk of being extinct, or is just the phase in which football finds itself in? You could potentially find strikers coming back again in football. I want to hear your views around that.
Hey, Michael, how's it? Welcome to the motherland. Mzansi, look, a quick one, Michael. Champions League final versus Barcelona. You were a striker at Man United. Also, Dimitar Berbatov was there. I read on somewhere whereby Dimitar Berbatov, he was expecting to be on the starting lineup, but you were on the starting lineup that day. Were you expecting to be on the starting lineup? Because Berbatov said after he realized that he's not starting, he remained behind in the locker room and he cried. I just want to know the feeling. As a Man United fan, we went on to lose against Barcelona. Were you expecting to start the game that day? How did maybe Ferguson approached it?
Good evening, Mr. Marawa, and good evening to the legend, Mr. Michael Owen, Mr. Marawa, my first question to Mr. Owen is that what is his take on a performance here in England so far, go World Cup? Because it seems as if they are struggling to win games. As much as they win games, but they are not winning them convincingly. When you look at their playing personnel on paper, they are one of the most exciting squad go World Cup. And lastly, what is his take on Bafana performance go FIFA World Cup? Does he see any bright future to our national team, or he thinks that we need to start afresh and build the new team? Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show as always.
Hi, Mr. Marawa and the team. My question to Michael is, since you played for Real, Man U and Liverpool, among the three, which one would you say you are a proud legend for? David and Parkwood.
Hey, Marawa. Today you are hosting the best striker, one of the best strikers, not only in England, but in the world. I dare say that. Umkhumbi Khumalo. This guy, he achieved everything. I think he was the youngest player to have, scored, goals for in England in the EPL. Not only did he end there, he grew. He went in and played for the biggest teams, and obviously the other smaller teams. But he was the greatest player. He was one of the greatest player up to today, Marawa. I mean, if you walk around the streets of our townships and Johannesburg, people still wear, that number 10 of Michael Owen. Michael, do you think that you were the greatest striker ever to have played for Liverpool? If not, who do you think, or who do you adore? Who was the player that you think you looked up to? Because as far as I know, you were the best striker to have played for Liverpool. Thank you.
Absolutely, and that's why he's here tonight on
Friday nights, always about our beloved legends.
Certainly is about our beloved legends. Lots of questions. Do we get enough answers? Hey, Michael, where do we even start? I mean, the three big teams you mentioned, Man United, Real Madrid, Newcastle. Do you rate one above the other?
Well, there were some lovely questions there, so thanks to the guys who sent them in, and really touched by some of the comments. I was very fortunate, obviously, to play for some of the great teams. Real Madrid was a real eye-opener. To go over there was exceptional. To play alongside some of the greats of that generation in that famous kit and that amazing stadium. I think when I look back on my career, where was I at my best? Where did I feel, like the Michael Owen of old type of thing? Then the only answer is Liverpool. That's where I was young, I was fearless, I was fast, I could score goals, of course. It's when I was at the top of my game. Injuries obviously hurt me in my career and slowed me down, and other teams got lesser versions of me. Now, that's not to say I didn't have special moments in different teams, and I was proud to play for different teams. But if I was going to show my kids, which I don't, but if I was going to show my kids some videos of when I was at my best, they would all be in a red Liverpool shirt, because that's when I was at my peak.
When you say 2001, the 2000-2001 season, was that?
Well, that was the team's peak.
Yeah.
And obviously I was in good form that year. I can't remember, did I score 28 goals in the team that year? It was a great year for me. Great year for me internationally as well. Scoring a hat-trick in Munich to beat Germany 5-1, qualifiers for the World Cup. And obviously it culminated in all those trophies at club level, and it culminated as well in winning the Ballon d'Or. So that was an incredible year for me, year for the team. However, if you said, when were you at your very best, I would say when I was 18. I snapped my hamstring in two when I was 19. Wow. And after that, I was compromised for the rest of my life. And of course, when you're 20, 21, you can overcome those problems. But when you start getting a little bit older, those start to just niggle away at you and slow you down. And that's how I was feeling towards the end of my career. So if I could have one season again, I would say, that season you mentioned, 2000, 2001, winning all those trophies, fantastic. But if I was to say, what was the year that you struck most fear into a defender, I would say around 98, when I was 18.
Sure. You know, you talk about the year that I won the Ballon d'Or. You talk about it as if you won a bottle of water. But that's the humility that comes out in you. It's not easy, because some of the superstars at the time, Michael, and you look at a Raul and his form, you look at an Oliver Kahn and his form, and those are the guys in the top three. But you had, like I said, a belter of a season. The treble comes through. What do you make of it now, maybe reflectively? Because you've had all these years to reflect on the greatness, the players that have won the Ballon d'Or. You're probably the second Ballon d'Or winner I've had a privilege to interview, the one who's the former Liberian president, who's become and was always the only African to win the Ballon d'Or. So all I'm saying to you, when you reflect on that achievement that year, just a Ballon d'Or reflection from you would be what?
Well, when I won it at the time, it was great. I'm certainly not saying anything otherwise. It's more important to me now than it's ever been. When you're a player, you've got this strange attitude. Put it this way, if you've got an attitude of, oh yeah, I've just won something, let's celebrate, let's think it's fantastic, let's keep dreaming about it and keep looking at it and keep shining your trophy and keep living in the past, you will never win it again. You'll never probably score a goal again. The great players, you look at You look, if Ronaldo scores a hat-trick tomorrow, Messi will score a hat-trick the next day. You can never, ever look back. You get greedy, you get arrogant, you get possessive, you get all of these things, and it's all about what's coming ahead. What you did a year ago or 2 years ago, it's irrelevant when you're in your career. Now I'm retired, I can look back, and I can think, that trophy that spins around in my cabinet at home, I could sit there and look at it all day. I can afford to do that now because, I'm not chasing any more goals. I'm not chasing any more performances. But when you're in it, when you're doing it, it doesn't really matter. When I won it, I can honestly say to you, I was thrilled for about an hour or two. I had forgotten about it after that. It's in the cabinet. What's next? In fact, I've got a game in 3 days. That's next. I can't play poorly and everybody think that guy won the Ballon d'Or. Look how bad he was. Do you know what I mean? It's not a nice attitude, but it's an essential attitude to have. You have to be always looking forward, winning the next Ballon d'Or. I bet you those guys that win it all the time, the rest of the Messis and Ronaldos, I bet you it kills them when they don't win it. They think it's their trophy.
Belongs to them.
Exactly, and rightly so, because if you don't have that attitude, you'll never win it again.
Well, I think a lot of people talk about that elite athlete mentality. So there's athletes, and there's athletes, there's football players, and there's football players, but the elite mentality takes something completely different, and that is why guys go on. I think even Peter Shilton into his 42 when he played for England. There are people that it just never stops. And I think you've just given us a true reflection of what that means as an elite athlete.
The only difference is what's between their ears. The elite athletes, it's not that they're fitter, it's not that they're stronger, it's the power of what's between their ears, how they think. Some people are happy to be a professional footballer. Some people, that's not enough. They achieve that, and it's like, yeah, but no, I want to be the best player in the world, or I want to win that Ballon d'Or, or I want to be the top goal scorer in the league, or whatever it might be. It's not enough to be a professional footballer. But for some people it is. They play their first game and they made it, and they go and tell their mates, and they go and strut around and count their newfound wealth and whatever. And they'll just be the average players all their lives.
Forgettable.
Which is fine. If everybody had the Ronaldo or Messi attitude, then, they wouldn't be such standouts. It's because they think differently. That's why they're different. What's between their mind is the most powerful thing. They're relentless in their pursuit for being the best. And lots of people are. I mean, I could list off a few players as well that were pretty average players, but they got to the absolute very top of their game through sheer bloody-minded, mental strength. So it takes all sorts. And I could also, at the same time, list off a handful of players that were the best things I've ever seen in terms of ability. And you think, oh my word, if only you had any form of mental strength, you'd be the best player in the world. But they just can't. They're so flimsy, their confidence levels, they waver, but the talent is incredible. So you need the whole package. And again, we keep going back to Messi and Ronaldo. They're the best things we've ever seen in our lifetime. They have the mixture of all that talent in the world, but the mentality to go with it. And that's when, these people are sort of created and different to what we've ever seen before.
Well, that's why I hate time, because, time is against us when you're having such great lessons about life as well. Talking about England, guys, before I even forget, do you love rugby? Do you follow rugby? Do you watch rugby? I know that you love many, many sporting codes.
You're not about to gloat about South Africa beating us all the time, are you?
I don't know. I was about to ask what you think, because Ellis Park is going to be buzzing tomorrow.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually. Hopefully it'll be on a screen while we're at the races. Do you know what? Being an ambassador for Hollywood Bets is fantastic, because I got to meet so many of those South African legends.
Ibn, Makazola Mapimpi.
What great guys. And it's actually humbling, because one or two of them come up to me and say, can I have a photo? I support Liverpool. You were my hero when I was young. And I say, oh my word, I'm watching you lifting World Cups, and and it's a very strange feeling. But what a nice bunch of guys. So that's a real privilege for me, being in the ambassadorial role with Hollywood Bet. So yeah, absolutely cool. I'll be cheering them on tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. And talking about rugby, though, I'm going to be giving away tickets. So I've got 10 tickets in hand, so which means that 5 of you who'll take their partners to Ellis Park. So don't phone now and you're in Cape Town and you can't get to the game. Phone if you within the proximity in Johannesburg, to be very safe. Use the WhatsApp voice note number. I'm not asking much of you. Just phone. Tell us you need 2 tickets. You want to go to the rugby. We'll make it possible for you. And even knowing what the voice note number is could be part of the trick. So send them through, and the first 5 to come through, you and your partner, your friend, or whoever else will go, courtesy of F&B, who've made it possible for us to give away these tickets. It's going to be a fascinating game. One never misses those big showdowns. And good luck. Good luck to the Springboks. And on behalf of Michael Owen, good luck to England. But we'll chat about that off as well. Michael, I think we do need a part 2. Next time you're down in South Africa, please let us know.